Hey everyone! Welcome to We Talk English. Join me as we explore the world of news, one story at a time. We'll break down complex topics, improve your English, and have some fun along the way. Subscribe now and let's learn English together.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something really interesting. It's the global reach of Diwali and how it reflects, the idea of India's soft power.
Soft power being?
Influence through things like culture and values, not through force or anything like that.
Got it.
It's kind of like how the English language spread around the world. And we'll get to that in a bit, I promise. But yeah, we've got some really cool articles on how Diwali is celebrated like in different parts of the world. We even have a news piece about a White House Diwali event.
Wow, a White House event. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Anyway, so Diwali is celebrated in places like Japan, Thailand, and even, obviously, the U.S.
Huh. Yeah, that's kind of surprising when you think about it. Like, how did Diwali, this festival rooted in India, end up being celebrated, like, all over the place?
Exactly. That's what we're going to try to figure out today. It's almost like, we talk English becoming a global thing, connecting people from all walks of life, and Diwali kind of doing something similar, but with, like, lights and celebrations.
Yeah, true. We talk English is everywhere, right?
Right. So what is it about these things, English and Diwali, that makes them resonate so strongly?
I think both of them offer something that everyone can relate to. Something universal, something that goes beyond where you're from.
Okay, I can see that.
Like English, it helps us talk to each other, right? Opens up all kinds of opportunities. And Diwali, well, it taps into that deep human desire for hope, for good to win over evil, for light to overcome darkness, for new beginnings and stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like more than just the rituals and stuff.
Right. It's about the underlying message, that message of hope and renewal that speaks to everyone, everywhere.
I like that, the message of hope.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's actually take this global Diwali journey now and see how it's celebrated in different places.
A Diwali world tour.
Exactly. Let's start with the United States. What's really interesting is that Diwali in the U.S., it's not just limited to, people of Indian origin anymore. It's becoming more mainstream every year.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you see places like Disneyland and Times Square all decked out in Diwali colors,
It's pretty cool.
And there are even Broadway-style Ramayana performances. It's awesome.
Wait, for people who don't know, what's the Ramayana again?
Oh, right. It's this ancient Indian epic, tells the story of Lord Rama's victory over evil. It's a really big deal, and closely tied to the whole spirit of Diwali.
Right. The Ramayana. Okay, got it.
Okay.
So those stories are finding new ways to be told in a totally different culture, huh?
Yep. Like in Jersey City, they had a multicultural cast performing the Ramayana. It just shows how Diwali is turning into like a shared celebration. It's not just about keeping traditions alive, but about sharing them with everyone, sharing the meaning behind them.
That's really cool. That's a great example of how cultures can blend and stuff. Okay, so next stop on our Diwali World Tour, let's go to Nepal.
Nepal.
They celebrate Diwali, or Tihar as they call it, in a very special way.
Oh yeah, Nepal's Tihar festival is a 5-day thing.
5 days. Wow.
Yeah. They honor, deities and even animals. It's a really beautiful blend of spirituality and nature. And the city lights of Kathmandu, imagine that, glittering below the Swayambhuna Stupa. It's really something else.
The Swayambhuna Stupa. I'm not sure if everyone knows what that is.
Oh, you're right. It's one of the oldest Buddhist monuments in Nepal. It's a super important landmark, symbolizes peace and enlightenment and all that.
Okay, so it's this super old, super sacred place.
Got it. So we've seen Diwali in the U.S., Nepal, both very different. Now, get ready for something completely different Diwali in Thailand.
Thailand.
They have their own unique way of celebrating, blending local customs with the spirit of the festival.
Thailand's Lam Kriong celebrations are super unique. Instead of fireworks, they set these beautiful banana leaf lamps afloat on rivers.
Banana leaf lamps.
Yeah, they have candles and coins and incense in them. It's this symbolic gesture, like, a prayer for strength and continuity and stuff. And the sight of a river all lit up with these floating lamps. Breathtaking. Wow, that sounds magical. A river of light.
It's just amazing how the same festival can be celebrated in so many different ways, but still keep that same core meaning,
I know, right? It's pretty amazing.
Okay, let's move on to Japan. Diwali in Japan has this more contemplative feel, I think.
Yeah, it's more about, like, inner peace, prosperity, and living a long life. They decorate gardens with colorful lanterns, and dance and music, they play a big role in the festivities.
So it's not all about fireworks and big parties?
No, it's more chill. But it shows how the spirit of Diwali can work in different spiritual traditions.
That's super interesting. So we've seen Diwali in North America, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and now East Asia. This festival really is everywhere. Now let's head back to Europe. The UK, specifically Leicester, has some of the biggest Diwali celebrations outside of India.
Oh yeah, Leicester, their Diwali celebration is huge. It brings in like over 35,000 people from all backgrounds.
That's a lot of people. I know, right? They have massive fireworks, Bollywood performances, and you can really feel this sense of community and shared joy. It's a great example of how Diwali brings people together. Doesn't matter what their culture or religion is.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a massive party. We can't forget Sri Lanka either.
Sri Lanka.
It's an island nation with, deep ties to India, both historically and culturally.
Oh yeah, their Diwali celebrations are closely connected to the Ramayana too.
Ah, the Ramayana again.
And they have a lot of similarities with South Indian traditions. They focus on goddess Lakshmi, the deity of wealth and prosperity, and they have tons of sweets, firecrackers, and these super detailed sugar crystal figures.
Oh yeah, the sugar figures. They're so beautiful.
I know, right?
It's amazing how all these different ways of celebrating Diwali, the floating lamps in Thailand, the sugar figures in Sri Lanka, they all connect back to those core themes, good over evil, light over darkness, and hope for new beginnings.
Absolutely. It's those universal themes that make Diwali so appealing to people around the world. It's not really about the specific customs or anything, but more about the shared experience of, hoping for something better.
That's deep. Oh, and before we move on, we got to talk about Singapore.
Singapore!
Diwali, or Deepavali as they call it there,
Yeah.
is a national holiday.
Yeah. And their little India district, it transforms into this crazy spectacle during Deepavali. Lights, decorations, bustling bazaars. It's like a mix of Indian tradition and modern Singapore. It's super vibrant.
Sounds incredible. Okay, now let's talk about something that really shows how much Diwali is becoming recognized globally. President Biden's recent White House celebration.
Yes. For the White House to host a Diwali event, especially now during President Biden's last term, it says a lot. It shows how influential the Indian American community has become and how important Diwali is in America today.
Totally. President Biden even said that the South Asian community is the fastest growing and most engaged community in the world, and pointed out that Diwali is now celebrated openly and proudly in the White House.
That's huge. It shows how cultural events like Diwali can bring people together. They can build understanding and celebrate diversity on a national stage.
It's true. So we've been all over the world now seeing how different people celebrate Diwali. But let's tie it all together. How do all these celebrations reflect India's, what was it called again?
Soft power.
Yeah, soft power.
Right. So soft power is all about winning people over, not by forcing them, but by attracting them. And Diwali, with its message of good over evil, hope, new beginnings, it speaks to people from all walks of life. It's like a cultural ambassador for India, sharing its values and traditions with the world in a fun, celebratory way.
So it's almost like, Diwali's becoming this global language, kind of like English. But instead of words, it's using lights and symbols and experiences that we all share, right?
Exactly. And it's not just Diwali. It's Bollywood, yoga, Indian food. They're all shaping how the world sees India. It's changing the narrative, highlighting its cultural richness and its messages of peace and harmony.
It's not just about money or politics, then. It's about culture changing the world. This has been quite the journey. We've seen how Diwali's celebrated from the streets of Leicester to, the peaceful gardens of Japan. And we've started to understand how this whole global embrace of Diwali shows India's growing influence on the world stage.
It's really interesting when you think about how Diwali, being celebrated outside of India, it kind of creates this cultural dialogue.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's like Diwali's having this conversation with the world, learning and changing as it goes.
Exactly. Think about how Diwali's celebrated in the U.S. with those Broadway-style Ramayana performances. It's mixing with American culture.
It's like fusion food, but for culture.
Haha, yeah, exactly. You'd take the main ingredients of Diwali and add some local flavor, create something totally new.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's not just the U.S. either. Remember Thailand's Lam Kriyong with those banana leaf lamps floating on the rivers?
Right. It's still Diwali at its heart, with all the light and hope symbolism, but it's expressed in a way that's totally Thai.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, as Diwali keeps spreading around the world, how will it find that balance, between keeping its original meaning and adapting to new customs?
That's a tough one. It's got to be hard to stay true to tradition while also being open to change. Right.
It's a huge challenge for a lot of traditions in our globalized world. Like, think about yoga.
Yoga.
Yeah. It started in India as a spiritual thing, but now it's everywhere, mostly for its health benefits.
And there are so many different types now. Hot yoga, power yoga, goat yoga. Some people might say it's totally different from how it started, but it's still based on those same yoga principles.
That's exactly it. Finding that balance, right? Respecting the roots while also letting it change and connect with different people.
Hmm. Okay, so how does that relate back to Diwali? Like, how might it change as it becomes like a global thing?
Well, one way could be through stories. Imagine Diwali plays and musicals that, include local folklore and legends.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. It'd be like weaving together the story of Diwali with the culture of that country.
Yeah.
Create something beautiful and new.
I like that, a cultural tapestry.
Another way could be through food. Imagine Diwali-inspired dishes that use local ingredients and cooking styles.
Ooh, a Diwali food festival.
Yeah, you could have everything from those traditional Indian sweets to Diwali-inspired Thai curries or even Japanese mochi with a Diwali twist.
That sounds amazing.
Right, it's that kind of creative mix that can bring people together and show just how adaptable Diwali can be.
It's like Diwali is a seed that's been planted all over the world, and now we get to watch it grow in all these different ways.
Exactly, and it'll be really interesting to see how it changes the culture of each place it goes to.
It's kind of like a cultural exchange program, but with traditions and values instead of students.
Totally. And it goes both ways. Diwali is influencing other cultures, but it's also being influenced by them, creating this beautiful exchange.
It's like a global conversation, and Diwali is right in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's starting conversations, helping people understand each other, and showing how cool cultural diversity can be.
It's a testament to the power of soft power, right? Like how much influence you can have just by sharing values and experiences.
You got it. And as Diwali keeps spreading, who knows what other amazing conversations it'll start.
Wow. As we wrap up this deep dive into Diwali's global reach, I'm just amazed. Who knew a festival this old would be celebrated all over the world today?
It is pretty incredible, right? It shows you how powerful traditions can be and that basic human need to celebrate, connect, have hope.
Yeah. And what's really cool is how Diwali keeps its main message, even when it's celebrated in so many different ways. Good over evil, light over darkness, that kind of stuff.
It's a timeless message, don't you think? It doesn't matter where you're from or what you believe.
Totally. It's like a language everyone gets, even if we all speak it a little differently. And just like English, this shared language is helping people connect and see India in a new light.
That's a great way to put it. It shows that cultural exchange is more than just, surface differences. It's about those values and dreams we all share. So as Diwali becomes even more global, what do you think its lasting impact will be?
That's a good question. I think Diwali will leave behind a legacy of connection, understanding, and hope. It'll be a reminder that culture can bring people together, get them talking, and ultimately make the world a more welcoming place.
I like that, a legacy of hope. And that's something we can all be a part of, by embracing that Diwali spirit, looking for the good, spreading kindness, and just building bridges with the people around us.
That's a great message to end on. Thanks for joining me on this awesome journey exploring Diwali around the world.
It's been my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, may the spirit of Diwali brighten your days and inspire you to build connections that go beyond borders.
And again, thanks for joining us on We Talk English.